Going, I'm going to revisit a topic today that I think is important. Some of you know this, some of you may not be familiar with RAIN, but it's such a it's such a useful practice and such a good shorthand practice. So I wanted to revisit it this morning. You know, I talk a lot about noticing, and noticing being a foundational practice that is critical to the path, because if we're not paying attention to what's going on, we're on autopilot, and we can't really do much about whatever challenges we're encountering. And so RAIN is a structured noticing practice that it's just a useful shorthand that I have found really helpful over the years. I was introduced to some years ago by Tara Brach on a retreat, and it's really stayed with me, and I try to practice it. And it goes a little beyond just noticing. Noticing is the first part, but really working with that which we are noticing. And you know, this path is not always easy. It requires some courage. It requires some perseverance. We need determination. We need humor. We need balanced effort. We need all these things. And it requires the courage, the willingness to really feel directly in our body the suffering brought on that we experience by our attachment to things, by our attachment to conditioned thoughts. And these unskillful means, they cause us suffering, they create separation between us, they create the greed and aversion that we talk about with the poisons. You know, all the ways we sort of unskillfully try to seek happiness or comfort. And this tool of RAIN is helpful because it's not, as I said, it's not only noticing, it's also a formula for a template for dealing with difficult emotions, sensations, and thoughts that cause so much suffering. So let's go through what each one stands for, and I'll say each letter stands for, and I'll say a little bit about it. And if this is a review, if you're familiar with it, just bear with me. So R is the noticing piece. It stands for recognizing what is happening in the moment. And this is not a small thing. You know, we have to be present enough and mindful enough to notice, okay? But it is a way of addressing and starting to interrupt that immediate reactivity, you know, projecting blame, you know, responding unskillfully, and so forth. So recognizing what is happening in the moment, that's the R. And this is to notice. This is the noticing piece that I talk about all the time. It asks us to be awake, to be paying attention. So that's the R, recognizing. A stands for acceptance, for accepting. You know, not liking it. You know, we talk about, you know, accepting is not the same as liking what is happening, but it is accepting it irrespective of whether we like it now. You know, it's when we invoke that mantra which says, it's like this now. Okay. It's not indulging that reactive emotion, or, you know, telling a story about it. You know, it's not the second arrow. It's none of that. It is accepting as it is, unpleasant as it might be. Because if we indulge it and get caught in the story, we're going to suffer more. If we activate the second arrow, where we start telling ourselves, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, we're going to suffer more. So acceptance is a critical part of our path. And we talk about it a lot in other contexts, but it's part of the sequence that RAIN involves. The I stands for investigation, and that's really the discernment piece, okay, that we talk about. Investigating what's going on in the body. Okay, this is primarily a physical noticing, but it's also more than that. It's the discernment. But it's, for instance, what does anger feel like? Where is it happening in my body? Not just that I'm punching back reactively, but you know, where is it coming up? Can I just be with that? And this takes me back to acceptance. You know, it asks us, it says that the energetic, emotional component of whatever we're experiencing must be willingly and thoroughly felt until the body till impermanence kicks in, and then it subsides, until the body can return to a relaxed state. So we stay with, when we're investigating, we're seeing what's happening in the body. First of all, we're using discernment to see where it's coming up. We stay with it as it arises and passes away. We watch it without reacting to it. So that's investigation. And then the final letter, N, is non-identification. And this is, in other words, this is not me. There's no need to identify me and what just happened. Me, by which I mean, we don't get entangled in the story. We don't believe the story. We see our thoughts as just another story. Okay, it's just a passing event, a passing mental event, a passing emotional event, a passing sensation. You know, we use the metaphor, it's like watching a scene in a movie. It's like watching clouds overhead in the sky. It's just passing through. Okay, and this is a little tricky, okay, this not identifying, because we shift from the content of our mind and identifying with it to being the observer of it. Let me repeat that. We go from seeing it as something we're identified with, the content of it, to just simply observing it as an outside observer. That's a beautiful practice because it separates me from the intensity of it, that non-identification, okay? It's just another story we're telling ourselves. And this is a real shift into freedom, okay? This is where we really shift into freedom. So we recognize it, something's coming up, I accept it, okay, it is like this now. I investigate it. Where is it in the body? What's it kicking up? What story is it trying to trigger? And then comes in the non-identification, the N. Okay, it's just another story that I'm observing. It's like leaves on a stream passing down in front of me. And to me, the R.A.I.N practice kind of is really the practice. I mean, it is just, if we do this consistently, it is the path, okay? I mean, there's lots of other pieces as we talk about all the time, but this is so fundamental and is such a useful practice because of how it really helps us de-identify, get out of this connection which causes so much suffering. We expand our own noticing, that fundamental practice I talk about all the time, into in a much more structured and systematic way. So, just keep R.A.I.N in your head. If you come into a situation, what's coming up? Oh, can I accept it as it is without trying to push it away or distract myself? Can I investigate it? Where is it happening in the body? And then can I say, well, it's not really me. It's just another story. Okay. And that's what I love about the practice. It's very clear, it's very clean, and it's very accessible. So we'll talk about it in a minute, but I wanted to share this quote from Ajahn Chah, who is the Thai forest monk who's now deceased. And he says, quote, "Try to be mindful and let things take their natural course." This is really his interpretation of R.A.I.N. Try to be mindful and let things take their natural course. Then your mind will become still in any surroundings like a clear forest pool. All kinds of wonderful, rare animals will come to drink at the pool, and you will clearly see the nature of all things. You will see many strange and wonderful things come and go, but you will be still. This is the happiness of the Buddha. Okay. So he's sort of summarizing the benefits of the R.A.I.N practice using the metaphor of a still forest pool. So let me stop there and get your thoughts. And if you've practiced R.A.I.N or used it in the past or used it intermittently, share with us, if you would, just what your experience has been with it, because I want to make this something which is accessible to all of us and that we can use in our day-to-day lives, especially when we come into challenging situations. Yes, Beck.
I have a question first, if
Yes.
that's okay.
Yep.
It is